Linus Hall is the brewmaster at Yazoo, and there are a lot of legends that surround his life. Like this one, as told by Lyle from the bottling line.
He's actually a ninja. He trained to be a ninja before he wanted to be a brewer. I know that because he comes out of nowhere and then he disappears just as fast. Sometimes in a cloud of smoke. Sometimes.
All of Linus's training is channeled into the beer, like their new Hop Perfect IPA. I don't even like hoppy beers, and I love this one. I took a 6-pack on a camping trip recently, but forgot a bottle opener. Linus just walked out of the woods and handed me one. Yazoo is a proud supporter of all neighbors everywhere, sharing stories over a pint. This story starts with a joke, one that it's said every improviser knows. It's called 185.
185 blanks walk into a bar. The bartender says, we don't serve blanks here. And the bartender all says punchline, or the person going into the bar.
This is Lacey Madison. She's one of the teachers at the Nashville Improv Company. They do shows, teach classes, corporate events, things like that. They're in a rehearsal right now going over the game 185. There's about a dozen people standing in a line at the front of the room, and Lacey gives them an example audience suggestion.
185 elephants.
And someone bravely steps out and tells the first joke.
185 elephants walk into the bar, and the bartender says, well, we can't serve you here. And the elephants say, peanuts.
185 elephants walk into the bar, and the bartender says, oh, forget it. And the elephants say, we can't.
185 elephants fly into the bar. The bartender goes, look, I don't serve flying elephants. And they go, well, that's Dumbo.
At the end of the line, a man with glasses steps out.
185 elephants walk into a bar because they heard there was a trunk sale.
This is Michael Carney. Now, you might not be able to tell it from that joke, but Michael is a genius improviser. I mean, he's an actual genius. What you're about to hear might be hard to believe, but when Michael was just a baby, he was pretty advanced.
Spoke at 4 months, was reading single words at 8 months, doing math at 2.
In fact, he graduated high school at 6. And according to my contact at the Guinness Book of World Records, Michael is officially the youngest person to graduate college at age 10 with a bachelor's degree in anthropology. And now at 32, he's not curing cancer or solving world hunger. No, he co-owns this improv company with Lacey, his longtime girlfriend, which turns out just might be the most genius move he could have made. I'm Jacob Lewis, and from Nashville Public Radio, you're listening to Neighbors, a show about what connects us. This is a story about a child prodigy who grew up and defied expectations, using his genius in an unconventional way. I went to Michael's house in Brentwood, Tennessee, the burbs of Nashville. In fact, his house actually looks like a soccer mom might live there.
Hello.
Hey!
Hi, come on in.
How's it going?
Oh, it's pretty good.
Michael and Lacey live here together. They have a baby grand piano in their front room, a giant TV in their living room, and about 50 board games haphazardly piled up in the corner. Michael takes me to a shelf and grabs a book to show me.
Here's this.
What's this?
This is me.
Oh, what is this book?
It's Time Magazine. Time Magazine
That's
was
you?
like, yep, super cute.
You are super cute.
That's Jay Leno.
It's a picture of 10-year-old Michael with giant glasses. He's being interviewed on The Tonight Show. It was a few days after he graduated college.
You know, so it's like, what do you do? Okay, you do.
What?
You get in Time Magazine, you do that, you know.
Michael was born premature with blood poisoning. The doctors told his mother he would be developmentally delayed. He proved them wrong pretty quickly. At 8 months, he would look at the TV guide and let his parents know that The Price is Right is going to be on at 10. He was homeschooled at age 4 because he couldn't be put in public school until he was 5. They lived in California. He went through homeschooling pretty quickly.
I finished 5th through 9th grade in a year.
His parents knew he was ahead, but were anxious to get Michael into first grade in public school so he could be with other kids.
And basically the public school said, what, are you kidding? Are you kidding? No, you can't. You can't do that. He now is at the 9th grade level. You cannot put him into first grade. My parents were like, so what do you do? Well, there's a high school. my parents are like, you can't put a 5-year-old in high school. That's insane. And they said, well, this high school has a program that works with teenage mothers, people getting their GEDs. It's a program called NOVA. And they said, what you do is you enroll your student into the high school, but they're actually taking classes through NOVA. It's the part of my story that probably makes the best 80s sitcom. Everybody there, it's like, okay, well, it's a 14-year-old girl with a baby, and then a 70-year-old, Army veteran, and then me.
Michael did take 2 classes at the high school to get the student experience, algebra and French. He got reprimanded for correcting his algebra teacher's test, but he still graduated high school at the whopping age of 6, having to cite Little League as his PE credit.
So at the end of that, it was like, okay, well, what's next? And I remember my dad, laughingly go, I guess college, right? And then everybody got quiet. We all kind of looked and we went, oh, crap.
He gets his associate's degree at 8, and then decides he wants a bachelor's. You might think it would be easy for a child prodigy to get into college, but that wasn't the case.
I got a lot of different, hilarious rejection letters. One that literally told me to get a social life. I'm literally the only student whose social life you are prying into. And I was like, do you want signed affidavits from my friends saying, hey, Michael's really good at Mortal Kombat 2? Because I was like, I can show you my high scores, bro.
His family ended up moving to Mobile, Alabama, because his dad was in the Navy. In Mobile, there was the University of South Alabama.
They had a really, really progressive dean, a guy who just came in and he was like, we're going to shake everything up. The president was like, yeah, we're going to shake everything up. So the president said, if we get this kid and this works, we will be nationally known.
So they say as long as Michael survives his first semester, they'll give him a full ride.
There was only one problem, though. The first day of school, there were 5 newspapers, 4 television networks, and 5 radio stations in the class.
And this was the beginning of Michael's media attention. People started to recognize him around town. And one day, he was in a supermarket in Alabama, and something happened that changed the course of Michael's life.
The dude looked at me and he goes, hey, what you're doing is real good. Here's a $20 bill. And I was like, I have no idea who that man was. He just walked up and he was like, here's a $20 bill. And I was like,
Michael thought, hey, this is fun. So he turned to his parents and asked,
is it entirely okay if I exploit my fame?
They agreed, as long as he kept up with school. So they started taking on more media requests. One of the first was a talk show in Seattle.
It was called Northwest Afternoon, I believe. Just the most generico, talk show you could ever imagine. It had that sexy saxophone music. Hey, welcome back to Northwest Afternoon. And I was like, oh, so people will fly you places?
In a way, he was working the system. Child Genius makes headlines. Child Genius uses headlines to get free steak dinners all over the country.
I literally, there wasn't a talk show that I haven't done. I mean, I didn't do David Letterman, I didn't do Conan, and I didn't do Ricky Lake. Everything else, all of them.
Now, all this time, Michael was still in school. And eventually came graduation day.
June 5th, 1994. Hundreds of news organizations just packed the Mobile Civic Center. And I'm just, okay, let's walk up there. I walked up there and was deafened.
He got a massive half-minute standing ovation. Graduating at 10 was a record-breaking achievement that you think would go a long way for Michael, but turns out really didn't matter when it came to the real world.
So my bachelor's degree was in anthropology, cultural anthropology. Well, cultural anthropology eventually means that you go to a tribe or you go to, do research on far off cultures, except that you can't do that when you're 12 or 11 or 10. So that's not going to happen. So I was like, well, okay, I have a degree in this. What is the point in which I'd get to use it? And they were like, 18. I was like, shit, I'm 10. What do I do? Yeah, you're great, you're smart, you're wonderful, but no one's going to take you seriously. It's a goon show. I'm gonna use the media. I'm gonna use it and get a chance to be a famous child.
Find out just what that looks like after the break. This episode of Neighbors is brought to you by Baja Burrito. Doing it the hard way since Y2K. The owner, Troy, took me back to see where the magic happens.
Roasting tomatoes for the salsa there. Everything's cooked on the grill here.
What's in these giant pots?
Pots is beans.
That's a lot of beans, my friend.
A lot of beans, oh yeah.
Okay, and then we got this chicken grilling.
Like that.
I gotta say, man, this is a beautiful spread.
Baja Burrito,
Thank
a
you.
Nashville staple located in the Berry Hill neighborhood.
Awesome.
So Michael went back to the thing that was the most fun for him, the entertainment business.
They offered me a Disney TV movie of the week.
With Melissa Joan Hart.
It's called Family Reunion, a relative nightmare.
Look, I get the complete mint stamp collection of the Elvis commemorative.
He played the nerdy cousin, which was a typical role for him.
The thing I didn't really realize until a lot later was that all of the guys that were the most entertaining and the guys I was having the most fun with, hanging out with, was the guys who were trained at Second City or the Groundlings.
These are two improv schools.
I would learn, from what they were doing. What they were doing was just being positive, being friendly, and they were positive to everyone. So I kind of took that to heart, and I was like, oh, great. This is that's the style of acting. That's the side of my personality that I want to do.
Michael was enthralled with game shows from an early age. He thought, why not try and host one? So his parents flew him to LA, where he started his own TV pilot. It was called Split Second. But the network canceled it because they thought people wouldn't like seeing a kid correct adults. So, slightly dejected, Michael went back to get a master's in chemistry. And at graduation, there was a reporter, asked him what he'd like to do next.
Since I'm 14, I can pretty much do whatever I want. I don't have, time constraints, or I don't have to get a job, certainly. So I can take a little while to think about that.
Michael did get another degree. He even taught some, but he still craved the fun of being in entertainment. And at 21 years old, there came the thrill of a lifetime, a perfect melding of his genius and TV experience.
Actress Sandra Bullock recently married what bad boy? Michael?
Jesse James.
Bad boy host of TV's Monster Garage, Jesse James is the answer. Michael, you are a millionaire.
Michael won $1 million on a game show called Gold Rush. He was interviewed on CBS News about the win.
But now here's the question. You have all this amazing education. Well, how come you're so good at pop culture?
Well, the thing is that when you graduate college at a really young age, you have nothing better to do sometimes. You just kind of sit around because you don't have a lot of school to go to. So I sat around and watched a lot of TV, a lot of movies.
You're sending a bad message to the youth of America this morning.
I am. I'm sending a bad message. Everybody should sit in front of their TV and then sit in front of their computer. Play some Gold Rush.
That's right. Mark Stein, what do you think set Michael apart from the rest of these contestants? Because you had some really sharp people.
Well, he was really intense when he came in to play the game. My concern really, Harry, is he's just peaked way too early in life, He's got everything. I don't know, where does he go from here? Where do you go from here? I mean, I don't know.
What do you do for an encore? Exactly right.
If you ever watched the movie Little Man Tate is about a child prodigy who fails at life, and he doesn't understand the world. And it's about, no matter how smart you are, people can't connect to real life. You know, that's what Doogie Howser, MD, was all about.
So the child prodigy grows up. And everyone that I've talked to about this all has the same question, the same point of tension, and it has to do with expectations. We stand in awe of prodigies, but we expect and almost demand that they use those gifts on behalf of the world. And at the same time, extremely intelligent people make us feel inferior and insecure, so we keep them at a distance. It's a lose-lose. Up until now, there might not be anything that you can relate to in Michael's story. A kid who had it all, brains, fame, and now money. But you might be able to relate to this next part.
In my early 20s, I had a bad breakup, and I think that's traditionally when people start in improv.
Michael found an improv class in Nashville. He took it for a while, and he started to have some serious fun, and with a group of friends that was really dedicated. One of these friends was Lacey. And after about 5 years of being part of classes, the owner of the company decided he didn't want to run it anymore. And rather than let its doors go shut, Michael and his new girlfriend Lacey took it over.
William Wallace, you think we can go to the label for the girl to new high one? Let's show our butts.
We always say improv is not a cult, it's totally a cult. It's not a cult. But it's all the things that make a cult good without all of the weird, terrible religious overtones. You can still engage all the parts of you that are a giant trust fall. So you're like having fun, you're engaged with people you don't know, and you're in a place in which you can succeed or fail, but all of those things in the group setting are successes.
Michael could have devoted his life to doing math problems for the human race, but it just wasn't his style.
That strive really wasn't for me, because at the end of that, it's like climbing that ladder to the loneliest spot in the ivory tower. Great, you're at the top, and you will be there. You will be the only guy who is there, and now no one can talk to you. I just happened to find a thing that I could be very good at, I could work at, in improv, that happens to be something that, to be really good at it, you have to be really nice. And to be really good at it, you have to be really friendly. And to be really good at it, you have to be good at listening to other people. Oh, so to be really good at improv, you have to be a really decent human. Great. That sounds like my thing. God, I'm so tired from teaching improv. I'm so tired of laughing.
And if somebody in the audience throws something out in hopes of challenging us, if it has anything to do with chemistry or art, he's there. He's like, oh, you want a deep art joke about Rembrandt? He will go there. It's really fun to watch. So we all have different talents, and improv gets to bring all of those out.
So is Michael squandering his gift, or is he using it to build a community of decent humans? I think it's the latter. And it was in the environment he created that I was prompted, in a somewhat uncharacteristic move, to bust out a joke in front of everyone about 185 backpacks.
185 backpacks walk into a bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve backpacks here." And the backpack says, "Ah," and the bartender goes, "Zip it!" All right, I'll get out of your hair.
Thanks, Michael. Neighbors is from Nashville Public Radio and produced by me, Jacob Lewis, with production assistance from Bailey Robbins. The story was edited by Mac Linebaugh and Emily Seiner, with special thanks to Lee Hale. Some music in this episode is by Poddington Bear, and this song is by Dan Burns. If you like the show, leave me a rating and review in iTunes. You can also listen to Neighbors on Stitcher, Spotify, and now Google Play. Neighbors is a proud and founding member of The Herd. That's HEARD. We're an audio collective of producers from all over North America. The first guy who bought into the idea of this whole herd thing was Jonathan Hirsch with his show Arrivals. In an upcoming episode, he'll take you down south.
Juarez, El Paso is a poor people's community. Poor people have their own niche here, and you can survive with money, you can survive without money down here, if you know how.
For more information on The Herd, visit theherdradio.com. That's HEARD. I'm Jacob Lewis, and I'm reminding you to get to know your neighbors.
Let's get a little meta. Let's go 185 radios. 185 radios.
185 radios walk into a bar, and the bartender won't serve them, so the radios say, FM.
185 radios walk into a bar, and the bartender's like, I haven't seen you guys before. Do you come in here often? They're like, we come in here pretty frequency.